What's up, everybody? It's your boy Ryan, and this is the Thunder Channel on nootropics and biohacking. Thanks so much for being with me. Remember, everything we put on this channel is brought to you by a couple of products. Wouldn't be possible without it. Here they are. Number one, the Cortex stack. Look, I mean, if you just need a pre-made stack that turns everything on, mental energy, motivation, verbal fluency, by Cortex. Great news is there's a couple great specials on it right now. 30% off using the coupon code 30. That is 30. Do that at livecortex.com. Secondly, you could get 2 bottles for $24 each. Buying the Cortex double stack. You can also find that at the homepage at livecortex.com. Nootropics users that just sort of want to take your stacking, adjusting, understanding, and results with nootropics to the 6-year mark that's defined as the masterclass. I created a video course for it. It's called the Nootropics Masterclass. That right now is down to the cheapest it's ever been, and that is $55 even. No coupon codes. livecortex.com. Go get it done. If you're new to nootropics, forget about all of that stuff with the exception of maybe Cortex because it's awesome. And just get the course Nootropics Ground Zero. It's an hour and some change video course that I created for people that are new to get you to the 3-year mark. That is a substantial jump. You'll spend a lot of time rummaging around Reddit and getting different conflicting dose information if you don't watch that course. Save you a lot of time, save you money. Do it at livecortex.com. Last thing, if you are a business person and need enhanced brain performance, brain output, enhanced productivity, trying to get that extra 10%, 20% to function awesomely, we have either the 1 month, the 3.5 month, or the 6 month intensive programs. Those are hands-on, results-driven, constant communication, extreme biohacking consults where the goal that we reach is improved cognitive performance. They also apply the 3.5 months and the 6 months to PSSD and post-benzo syndrome. Okay, we've got only, I want to say like 10 or so slots left for those situations, so get on it if you can, livecortex.com. Okay, so I want to talk about the importance of research days. So research days are defined as days within which you stop the process of experimenting with nootropics and research chemicals to induce certain effects. You stop them completely. You stop. You look at the things that you've been doing, the results that you've been getting. You examine downstream the mechanisms in a very nuanced way of everything you're doing to give you a generally better understanding of the trajectory that you need to go in, based on further understanding and expanding upon your understanding of what has happened so far. These days, if you can manage it, should be between 2 to 5 hours of actual uninterrupted research time where you go through papers, understand mechanisms, sometimes read papers over and over and over again. Even if you have good working memory, it's good to read papers over and over again because there's stuff you just don't catch the first time you read them. What this does for you is in the experimentation process of using nootropics or research chemicals to improve anything, is it gives you a much more nuanced understanding of what everything is doing. And of course also informs where in the past perhaps you haven't gotten the best results, and then mechanistically informs you on what exactly you need to do chemical protocol-wise to reach certain results. Okay, so I'm going to give you a bunch of examples. You guys get the main point. Here's some examples. Let's take uridine monophosphate for example. Uridine is an incredibly powerful kind of dopaminergic receptor modifying, neurogenesis inducing nootropic compound. Been on the market for quite some time, on the generally recognized as safe list. It's actually the main ingredient in the Cortex stack. Very, very powerful compound. Before you were to take uridine, I think it's important, and that's the case sort of with anything. And if you're already taking uridine but want to understand more about why you might need it or why you don't need it or what else it can do for you, there is a really, really awesome study called Restorative Effects of Uridine plus Docosahexaenoic Acid, which is DHA, one of the main fatty acids in fish oil, in a rat model of Parkinson's disease, okay? So listen, you don't have Parkinson's disease, but the conclusions here are critical to understand. Rats receiving UMP, which is uridine monophosphate, and DHA, did a couple critical things, one of which being a substantial elevation of striatal dopamine, critical for sort of general motivation and a stimulant response, but at the same time, significant elevations in a critically important dopamine synthesis enzyme called tyrosine hydroxylase. This is something that a lot of people don't know about UMP, that it actually makes tyrosine hydroxylase work better. And if you've got that enzyme functioning better, you synthesize dopamine better. Okay? It's just an incredible compound, incredible thing to target. Bromotain also targets that at various capacities. The conclusion in at least the summary of this study is that giving uridine and DHA may partially restore dopaminergic neurotransmission. Obviously, the model here is in Parkinson's disease, but extrapolatable, I think the word's extrapolative, to regular people that do not have Parkinson's disease. You're talking about a major dopaminergic upgrade, okay? It's important to understand, though, some of the other things that it does, particularly in increasing synaptic membranes and dendritic spines in rodents, but also plausibly in humans. I think there's actually a lot of human studies on that too. Those two together, UMP and DHA, are just incredible. Add a choline source and you have the recipe for neurogenesis, okay? Research days. Take the days to research. Do you need that? Do you feel like when you take tyrosine, you don't actually get a dopaminergic response? That could be because you don't use tyrosine hydroxylase properly. So stacking it with low-dose uridine, 100 to 150 milligrams, would catalyze the function of that enzyme and give you a better response from tyrosine. This is the reason you need research days. Second example, I was perusing a Facebook forum, a nootropics forum on Facebook, where someone was explaining that they had a terrible response to the caffeine theanine stack. That's like the smart caffeine stack, pretty infamous for giving you some sort of streamlined focus, right? Because you've got the caffeine in there, exciting the brain, shutting off tiredness, giving you some extra energy, releasing a little dopamine. And you have theanine increasing serotonin and GABA concentrations to a degree and inducing an alpha brainwave state electrically in the frontal lobes of the brain. Okay, so that's almost like meditating. It's like a walking meditative state if you respond well to it. This person, however, did not respond well to it, and they responded pretty crappy to it. Made them tired, made them kind of emotionally numb, which is totally antithetical to most people's experiences. Okay, why? You would need to take a research day to figure out why. This is the kind of nuanced stuff that I'm talking about. Turns out I got into the forum and asked this guy a couple questions, and there were a couple things that became clear to me that were fostering this person's negative response to an otherwise great stack. One of the major ones was a 5-HT1A agonist. And interestingly enough, you're not going to believe when I tell you this, that the 5-HT1A agonist, which is a serotonin agonist, which is going to increase concentrations of synaptic serotonin and therefore put you on a serotonin overload acutely in conjunction with theanine, is supplemental zinc. Supplemental zinc. Go research it. It is a serotonin agonist. So that is the mechanism of this person's problem. Remove the zinc, you'll have a better experience. You would only figure that out via research days. Last week, we talked about anxiety, particularly when people are taking the class of anxiety medications called benzodiazepines, and that there is anxiety present even when you take Xanax as an example. Why? Taking a research day to fully understand what happens is critically necessary in people that are trying to improve their lives and their anxiety as they take benzos and ultimately get off of them, because you need to get the hell off of them as soon as possible. Doing that, you would find that the benzodiazepine sites at the GABA A receptor are very quickly in withdrawal after you take the drug. So the whole point of it is you're supposed to get an anxiolytic response, right, and have no anxiety or less anxiety. But the way that they hit the way benzos hit those receptors is so strong and so powerful, which might explain why there's just a litany of long-term negatively life-altering consequences of taking compounds like benzodiazepines, that you literally put the receptors in withdrawal, sometimes hours after taking it. Do the research, okay? Don't just go to your doc and take doc's word for it. I know people like to trust persons of authority, but look, you have to know what you're doing and what you're putting into your body. Another quick example, no nootropics working. One of the main reasons that nootropics don't work for people is because, well, look, why are you trying to take nootropics to begin with, right? Usually it's to optimize performance, but usually that implies that there is a deficit. In most cases that I see that people don't respond to nootropics, it is because they have an energy baseline deficit. Okay, there's something that they're doing, whether it's consuming too much alcohol too late at night, which gets you to sort of like, if you're up burning the candle on both ends and you've got alcohol in the mix, it's going to make for a larger chance for you to have some degree of hangover effects, right? B vitamin depletion, dehydration, vasoconstriction in the brain, among other things. But at the same time, people with all kinds of different imbalances do not respond well to nootropics because those imbalances have to do with energy baseline. If they fix those imbalances, they'd respond to nootropics. Adrenal hormone insufficiency is a critical candidate in this category, okay? People with adrenal hormone insufficiency cannot physically take extra manufactured excitatory brain stimulation from nootropic chemicals, right? Your body just does not want to do that. In fact, it's down-regulated. In some cases, the neurotransmitter receptor sites responsible for that, but in general, it's down-regulating or effectively blocking the effect of the nootropic, and that is because your electrolyte homeostasis is deranged. Okay, that's one of the major hallmarks and major underlying, it's like pathophysiology for adrenal hormone insufficiency, particularly sodium, right? Having to do with aldosterone, the hormone that controls that. Do the research, take the data, understand why you're not responding to nootropics. Is it energy baseline? Do the research on what is causing your energy baseline to be deranged. Fix it. Then you will respond to nootropics, okay? But you can only do this by taking, it's like in life, like if you got some crazy thing going on consistently that's stressing you out and that you're engaged in something and trying to do something, it helps to take time, hours in a day, and sometimes throughout the course of a week, many days, to think about it, right? Not to be anxious about it, like not to do the analytical stuff, but to sit back, relax, and just kind of put your brain on that topic and then slowly run through what the hell is happening. Critical stuff. Look, mechanisms are everything when it comes to optimizing brain performance or doing anything with research chemicals or nootropics to make yourself work better or to repair an issue. Last example I'll give you, one of the things that we've been doing and are on the forefront of is working with PSSD people that have taken SSRIs and now they have complete emotional numbing and complete lack of sexual function and sensitivity. Usually that is serotonin receptor mediated autoreceptors, really. There's a couple serotonin receptors that are involved in that, but it's also a blockade on dopamine transmission, a downregulation of dopamine receptors. But in other cases where people have essentially that same syndrome, where sexually they don't function and it isn't due to testosterone, particularly, instead of taking SSRIs, some of these people were taking hair growth agents like Propecia or finasteride. Take the day to do the research before you touch that stuff. If you are taking it and have sexual dysfunction, take a day to, as much as you can, to do the research days. Because if you did, you'd understand that Propecia is a 5-alpha reductase inhibitor. In fact, that's one of the main mechanisms that it uses to regenerate hair growth. Seems fine, you grow more hair. Terrible downstream. It actually prevents the conversion of testosterone to DHT, and most of the downstream positive effects from tests, can't stress this enough, a lot of folks don't quite understand this, happens after it gets converted to DHT. Okay, get off the freaking Propecia, find another way, get some biotin in the mix, biohack it otherwise. Do the research. Research days are days that I take as often as possible. Look, I'm a busy guy, you guys know. I'm making these videos, I'm constantly researching, I'm constantly doing content, working with clients, a lot of you working with the operations side of Cortex Labs, but I make the time to do the research. I'll leave you with this. A nuanced understanding of everything you're doing to reach your objectives is critical and reaching those objectives. Thanks so much for listening, everybody. It has been great chatting with you. Remember, everything at livecortex.com is pretty much on sale using the coupon code 30. That includes the Cortex stack. If you want a better deal, get the Cortex double stack. That's 2 bottles in a package, but they're $24 each. Nootropics Masterclass, no coupon codes, $55, even cheapest it's ever been. Viking Test Protocol for guys. That is 30% off using the coupon code 30. If you're new to Nootropics Ground Zero, the video course, that's 30% off using the coupon code 30. And then last couple things. I mean, look, if you're a business person that wants to take your brain performance, thus your productivity, to the next level, in some cases, your happiness, your lust for life, your enjoyment, but ultimately just fully optimizing brain performance, either the 1 month, the 3.5 month, or the 6 month intensive programs. These are biohacking, results-driven, frequent communication consults with me, where the objective is to make you perform awesomely. Get those at livecortex.com. The 3.5 month and the 6 month also apply to PSSD. We are at the forefront of that, which is insane and blowing up. There's a lot of injustice going on there, but there is a targeted protocol to resolve it. Man, can't say enough about it. Anyway, livecortex.com. If any of those consults and you're sort of unsure about if they apply to you, Ryan at livecortex.com. Let's get on a call. Thanks so much for listening, everybody. Talk to you next time.